You have to build the boat before it rains. And what I mean by that is that you have to make the right decisions, take the right actions in preparation for anything that may occur later on down the line. Now, this is episode 2 of the Mastery Reps podcast. You can listen to it on all platforms. If you're watching on YouTube, welcome. Or if you're watching on Spotify, welcome as well. If you're watching on YouTube, you can find it on all listening platforms down in the description below. But yeah, let's get into it. Don't want to bore y'all too much with anything besides the topic of the video, which once again is you have to build the boat before it rains. Now, I heard that quote when listening to the audiobook for Outlive by Peter Attia, I believe that's how you say his name, which unfortunately with the whole Epstein list, can't believe he's on, the list, but whatever, right? Part of the book, there is a great quote that I love, and it refers to Noah's Ark, which is that Noah builds the boat before the world floods. Before, of course, God told him that, hey, the world's going to flood, so, get to moving, get to working. And so Noah builds the ark, and of course, when the flood strikes, he's been preparing, building the ark and everything for so many years. With this quote that comes from the book Outlive, I think if anything, we should backtrack a couple steps. Outlive is about longevity and building the proper life and thinking about it the right way so that you start making the better changes, the better habits now, because further down the line, we're all going to grow old and eventually our body's going to deteriorate whether we want it to or not. No matter how healthy we are now in our 20s, 30s, 40s, even 50s, eventually, nobody beats Father Time. In a way, fight back against those side effects that we'll be receiving down the line from our own body, knowing that these little changes that you do in your life can have a pretty drastic effect later on down in life, which of course, it's not a guarantee that you're going to take away all the potential side effects or you're going to absolutely negate the risk of getting anything down the line, but it is an absolute guarantee that it reduces the risk of potential diseases or anything that you might get the older that you become. And with that context of the book, I'm here to tell you that that can't be any closer to the truth. I mean, when it comes to building the boat, right? Building the boat before it rains, building the boat before it floods, you have to build your life before anything else comes into it. And that can be related to fitness, to self-improvement, to your career, even dating. And I guess we can break it down. So first, let's talk about fitness, right? So in general, you have to build the base that you're going to work on. And so when it comes to fitness or the fitness of your body, there are two different reigns that could occur. A reign that you choose, which is completely up to your decision making, and then one that occurs randomly in your life. So the first one comes from you choosing to up the weight. And so when it comes to building a base, you have to start somewhere and you have to start intentionally. And over time, make sure that you try your best to progress forward so that when the rain comes, when the flood comes, and you choose to do this high PR or whatever the case, you're going to avoid injuries. You're going to avoid the embarrassment of ego lifting as well. Now, the other one would be that in life, you might be faced with moments where you have to put your strength to the test in a way, whether, God forbid, but something happens, you have to hold a guy back, or you might need to help somebody carry something, or something along the lines of having to pull something or somebody. That is a flood moment. That is a moment where, hey, something is at risk and you need to put your strength to it. That is a moment where fitness would come into play. When it comes to your health, it's super important that the younger you are, the more that you prioritize your health, because health at the end of the day is wealth. Now, I'm not telling you to do a Santa Cruz medicinals, right? Not do a Brendan where you completely cut out all chemicals and stuff. I mean, even I enjoy my artificial sweeteners and my Diet Cokes, my Coke Zeros and stuff, my Red 40. I love me some Red 40, right? You could absolutely go down the path of removing all chemicals. I mean, by all means, the closer you can get to, all natural stuff, I mean, the better. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to tell you to completely remove that because I don't even do so myself. Now, what I am going to tell you is that you make sure that you eat stuff in moderation. And what I mean by that is, of course, don't eat too many calories, but of course, don't eat or consume too much sodium, fat, cholesterol, sugar. I mean, everything in moderation. Even water, you could die from water, but I don't think I need to tell you to drink water in moderation. I mean, if anything, you probably need more water. Stay hydrated and drink your water, but of course, eat stuff in moderation. I, as an ultra runner, I consume a lot of, calories, sodium, stuff like that, and sometimes I may consume a little bit more sugar and a little bit more fats, possibly more cholesterol, right, from eggs and then just other fast food stuff. But at the end of the day, it's still in moderation because of how much I work out. And that's something as well that if you are more of a sedentary person, you don't move around a lot, or if you kind of just do a little bit of cardio and you mainly just lift weights, make sure that you eat everything in moderation. You might need to track your calories, you might need to track your macros. I don't personally track macros, I track calories and protein, and that's about it. But if you believe that you don't have good control over how much you eat in terms of sugars, carbs, fats, then of course, might have to recommend you to track your macros. But everything in moderation, because your diet has so much to do with your health. And of course, how much you move is also very important as well. There's two, nice little phrases or quotes that I've heard that I'm going to say, which of course I already said. Health is wealth, but also motion is lotion. The older you become, or if you get any injuries, you learn that, your body starts feeling a little cranky whenever you don't move around a lot. And so, especially the older you get, those cracks in your shoulders, the cracks in your knees, your cracks in your back, you realize that, motion is lotion. You don't need to do these extreme endurance sports. I'm not telling you to go run a marathon or even a 5K, but what I am telling you is that go out and go for a walk. Go and move your body around. Do some exercises. Get physical. Do some sort of motion, some daily activity to get the body moving, because the blood flow gets the muscles warmed up, and all of that just works so well for your overall health, not only just now in the present moment, but for your future version as well. And now, of course, the same thing when it comes to your career in a way, depending on what your career is, right? Say your career, for example, me, right? I want to be able to inspire and motivate and teach and educate when it comes to self-improvement, self-mastery, that sort of stuff. What I had to do, my version of building my boat, was the same thing for fitness and the same thing for my health, which is fixing my diet and getting my workouts in check. Getting really those two things in check, right? So, tracking calories, tracking my protein, and make sure that I learn really well about what a diet can consist of and should consist of, as well as what workouts I should be doing, how I should be structuring them, which ones not to do. But on top of that, the biggest thing out of everything that I'm trying to say here is that all of that, learning all of that, and also not only just researching it and studying, but also putting the reps of experience into those things, led me to build this base and stack on top of it, so that now that I'm making content, I don't want to say expertise, but I have the experience and the knowledge to be able to provide to you guys as value, because I've been through so much and I've done so many things, and even now I'm still pushing my limits. I'm gonna run a 200 miler in March, and I'm aiming to do a sub 56 hours. That doesn't just come easily. I mean, people first have to start somewhere and then they go to a marathon or a 5K. I mean, you have to start somewhere. You have to build the base for anything. Now, the flood or the rain, right? It doesn't have to be something bad per se. The way that I take it when it comes to putting it in all these different places is more or less the fact that when the time is right and when the opportunity presents itself, you know what to do. And when it comes to your career or whatever job you want to go into, for me right now, I know where I'm heading towards and what I'm giving to you guys, simply because, again, like, I've gone through this. I mean, I was in a lot of cases. There's a lot of guys and girls as well, but I mostly know of guys that have or are currently in a position where they don't feel like they're doing anything. They feel like losers. They feel like they're worthless. They haven't done anything in their lives. That's how they feel. I've been in that position before. Of course, I've grown so much. I still have a lot of growing left to do. You guys are going to see a lot of it because, content and consistency, and I'm gonna keep going. I'm not giving up. This isn't just a one-off thing. I mean, I'm gonna keep putting out stuff. But I've been in that position because for so many years I struggled to find who I was. I struggled to find what my purpose was and what I wanted to do, not only for myself but in life in general. And since even before the lockdown, I remember that I was always a fat kid, right? I was a fat kid. I was called ugly, weird, shy, fat. Like, fuck, right? And so eventually I was like, okay, I got into, I don't want to say self improvement because I didn't know that was a thing. I just got into, okay, fitness a little bit, and I lost the weight, but I became skinny fat. And so I did feel better about myself, but I had so much internal dialogue against myself. And so that took a while to get rid of. After around, I want to say 2019 to 2020 was then when lockdown happened, and I kind of maintained the skinny fat, but I didn't really gain any weight. But during the lockdown, I wanted to bulk up because I learned about bulking up. I ended up dirty bulking, and I got super chubby, almost to the point where I'd say I was fat. And then I lost it because I got into running. I discovered self improvement, and that did a lot for me. I mean, still, eventually, the thing that happened was that I gained all of the weight back, and I lost myself again. And from there until now, I would probably say around last year, I kind of realized what I wanted to do. And it brings me a smile just saying this because it took me so long, almost a decade, to get to the point where I am now. But it took me going through all of those struggles and all of that adversity that I faced and putting myself in those uncomfortable positions and putting myself out there, challenging myself to become better, so that inevitably I got to the point where I am now, where I feel like there's opportunities coming to me super fast compared to what I've experienced before, and I'm so ready to tackle them on and make those opportunities mine and make something successful out of it. But it took me going through so many storms and so many personal floods in my life, not literal floods, but moments where it's like, damn, this is disastrous. This is one disaster after another, one bullshit after the other. Like, I went through those moments, but it made me the person that I am now. And even though I wish that those moments didn't happen when they were occurring, now looking back at it, I can smile through it all and realize that it all had to happen. It all was for a reason. And maybe some of y'all don't believe in God, but I believe that God knows what path he puts you on. But it's up to you to walk that path, right? He puts blessings along that path. And it's a long path, a wonderful journey to go through. But he puts adversities and obstacles there for a reason. If you choose not to walk it, you'll never see the blessings that he had for you. And so I feel like that's me in that place right now, where I had to go through that so that I could start receiving the blessings that he put in my path. And so that's what I want to say with that as well, that you have to build the boat before it rains. You have to build your life. You have to make the changes. Improve yourself. Seek growth in all aspects of life, so that when the time comes, when it comes to your career or job or whatever, you can seize the opportunity. Now, there's also dating, which in a way is also just like when it comes to your careers and your jobs, is that there is going to be somebody, or you might, seek them yourself. But at the end of the day, if you see somebody, they had to come into your life to begin with. And so when the right person comes along in your life, you want to be ready to, make a good impression. Of course, first impressions won't dictate if they get with you or not. You still have to be a good person nonetheless in order to be able to get with somebody. They're not going to want you if you're a bad person, if you talk shit about yourself all the time, you potentially are disrespectful to others. They're not really going to want you unless that's the type of guy that they're looking for, or type of woman they're looking for, which in all honesty I think you should avoid if they like dickheads. But that's just my personal opinion. But I digress. This is not a dating podcast. I'm not here to give necessarily my opinion on that, at least not for this episode. But what I am trying to say is that at the end of the day, you have to be a good person for your partner, because when you want to find a partner, or when the time comes, you want to be the right fit, or somebody who's becoming the right fit, so that they could see that, okay, they have goals, they're ambitious, they want to become somebody better, and they're always striving to improve. What can I learn from them, and will I be able to grow from them? That's what partners seek, right? And whether you have a partner already, or you're seeking a partner, or maybe right now you're not seeking one, but you know that eventually you want to, be with somebody, you have to work on yourself, because everything that you do now is for your future life. And once again, going back to it, this refers to your overall health. This refers to your fitness journey. This refers to your career journey. This refers to your relationship journey. It all goes back to the life that you live right now, and the decisions that you make right now. The decisions that you make on the present moment are the ones that dictate what your future life will look like. Every single day you are building the boat. Every single day you are building the life that your future self will rely on to seize the opportunities that you will gain later on. If you don't work on yourself now, if you don't strive for improvement, if you don't seek to gain knowledge or expertise in places, or if you simply don't put yourself in uncomfortable positions or in challenging places that will force you to grow and become better, then you'll never put in the reps needed to build the boat. And the boat really isn't complicated to build. It's not easy to build, but it's not complicated. It's very simple, because you already know the basics of how to take care of your physical health and your mental health. And I'll give you a few tips right now for what to do. These are the bare minimum, very basic, but a lot of you guys probably just need a little bit of help on where to start. So of course, if you don't know where to start and you just want to keep it simple, depending on, there's a lot of variables that could go into it. But what I would say for the general person speaking is make sure you get plenty of steps in, preferably 10,000 steps, and you're going to want to work out. You don't need to go to a gym, but if you do have the money, preferably go to the gym. It makes it a lot easier to hit workouts when you have the machines for it. But if not, you can simply do a body weight workout. You could search one up on YouTube and do a 20-30 minute full body workout, no weights, and you could do that. And that's for your fitness. And then when it comes to your diet, this one might be just a little more complicated, but it's so worth it. What you need to do is read the labels. And if you have an item but you don't know how many calories it is, search it up on Google. And if it's an item from a restaurant but there's no specific calorie counter, just go on Google, once again, search up what the item is and try to find the closest thing to it, and then just use that to base your calories off of it. Count your calories and count your protein. Your protein matters a lot. And also, you know what you really should be reducing, because more than likely you're not doing endurance runs, or you're not taking part in endurance sports for me to tell you, oh yeah, it's fine to eat whatever high calorie stuff you want. If you're not doing those things, again, track your calories, track your protein, and reduce your sugar intake and reduce your bullshit intake. And you know what bullshit means, whether that's fast food or junk food, candy, chips, whatever the case, reduce it. I'm not telling you to get rid of it, but I'm telling you to simply reduce it. And one thing that I just started doing literally at the very end of last year, but I highly, highly, highly recommend to anybody, is start reading. If you're not a religious person, you don't have to read the Bible. You don't have to read any religious text if you're not. But of course, I would say that's an honorable mention. But you don't have to read religious texts, of course, but I will recommend you reading nonfiction books if you haven't already. I am currently on Meditations, but I finished reading Atomic Habits. This is the first nonfiction book that I ever finished. And then right now I am on Atomic Habits. As you can see, here is a page right here just folded right there. And so one thing that you will never regret is gaining more knowledge and gaining knowledge anywhere, right? So for sure, something that I feel like is a lot truer now is that yes, there is so much research, so much material and resources that you can get from the internet, and there's YouTube videos now that summarize so many things. You gain a different level and almost a higher level of expression when you read. And so what I mean by that is that if you want to do something like, for example, what I want to do, gain a higher level of knowledge when it comes to the things that I'm reading about, simply because I see how people write the descriptions or how they express themselves when writing it, what sort of writing style they have, the models, the illustrations that they do. That sort of stuff really helps me out to see how successful people speak, how they write, how they present certain ideas. Sometimes they're very complex ideas, and I love to see that. Reading is one of the ways that you can absolutely help build the boat. You build the foundation for your life. Also, you could still YouTube and stuff. Keep an open mind, of course. Try to learn from all sides of everything. While reading Meditations, I'm reading the intro of it, and it speaks about how Marcus Aurelius, even though he was a Stoic himself, though really he would consider himself more just, a student of philosophy. But him being more of a Stoic, he still took ideas from several other Hellenistic ideals, right? And so him having his beliefs, yet still trying his best to learn from other places and see how people think and what they have to say and stuff and the way they express, that sort of stuff makes you so much more smarter than you believe. You have to be willing to listen to others, and you have to be willing to listen to every side of the motherfucking coin. Whatever resources you can get them. If you can get courses, if you can get videos, if you can get books, get them all. If you can get tutors or teachers or whatever, get them. Mentors, get them. I'm telling you this because you will never fail yourself with trying to learn. You will never regret that, because at the end of the day, even if it's something that you paid to receive a level of information from, at the very least, you can learn what not to look for, right? You can learn, okay, this style of dude, what is he preaching? What is he saying? How much did he charge? What does he look like? How is he presenting himself? Like that sort of stuff you can see, and you can be like, that motherfucker might be a scam artist. It teaches you what to look for. You will never regret knowledge at the end of the day. And the people that do end up regretting it is simply because they would seek information, but they never took action on it. And so that's also what I want to say, because that also has to do with building the boat. The boat relies on everything, on all aspects. It relies on what you learn and what you do. And everything else falls into both of those things. You have to learn a lot, but you have to learn before you do. Or you do and you learn. But while you do, you still should learn, if that makes sense. So I am going to tell you that if you know what you need to do, but you don't know how to do it, and then you will learn from experience. Once you're done doing that thing for the day, you could go and look for things to research. You can go out and study the thing that you're doing, so that the next time you do it better. And each time that you keep showing up, you're getting those experience points up. You're getting reps in, the necessary reps in, because at the end of the day, yes, it is necessary to gain information, to seek information so that you can improve yourself, but you won't improve unless you do the proper actions and make the right decisions. It's the whole reason why we go to the doctor. We know what the doctor tells us to do, yet we still don't do it. So what do you do if you want to improve your health? You already know what the doctor's telling you. You went and you seek out that knowledge, and you literally heard it from the doctor. So now what's left to do? You have to take action, and you have to make the right decisions. So all in all, to summarize, what it means to build the boat before it rains is simply saying that you need to make the right decisions starting today, so that in case of anything that may happen down the line, whether an emergency happens or life itself and Father Time starts acting up, or if an opportunity comes around that you want to seize, you have to be ready for when the time comes. Every decision that you make now dictates the life that you live in the future. And if you want your future to look successful, both monetary and just physically speaking, and when it comes to relationships, and with your health, of course, right? Your physical, your mental health, whatever success may look to you, you know that it requires you to build the boat now, to take action, the right actions, and to make the right decisions. And yes, I'm about to eat this. It is a mandarin. Eat your fruits. But yeah, that's it. Stay blessed. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you could always leave them in the comments in the podcast or on YouTube. You could also DM me personally, and I'll either reach out to you, or I might make a video on whatever questions you may have. If I feel that it'll make for a really good episode, then I'll make a whole video about it, trying to go a little more in depth into things. But yeah, the current schedule looking for these sort of podcast episodes, I'm thinking will be probably around twice a week or 3 times, depending on how busy I am. But 2 times a week sounds like the plan. And yeah, that's it. Once again, stay blessed.